6:01. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Second Finance Committee meeting for a cycle this season. I don't see any public participation here. Is there any public participation on the machine, Steve?
There is not, Mr. Chairman.
Seeing no public participation. We have not too long of a list, really, of budgets to go through. We do have meeting minutes from the Town Hall Subcommittee. I don't know if the Town Hall Subcommittee, I would think, might want to speak on the budgets that we're going to see tonight.
I think Mr. Kenny is here. I think he's the chair of that committee. He's online.
Yes, he is.
I am.
And Dawn is here now also.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, how are you? I don't.
Good, good. We reviewed, last time we met, we reviewed,
Volume on that?
sorry?
You're all set. Keep talking.
Okay. We reviewed,
Sure.
11 budgets, that were, mostly contractual, negotiated increases. I think net, we were up half a point, Steve. And you know, we got some gifts like the elections budget. There's one less election this year. It's not a presidential year, so you know, we were able to have some savings there year over year. But other than that, it's the sort of benign group of budgets you're used to seeing.
Okay. Very good. Anything else you want to add?
No, good.
All right.
I will
Liz,
say, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I will say there was some discussion. We didn't bring this to the, I didn't mention this at the town council meeting, but Mr. Ravenel brought up a good point, which was, you know, one of the budgets, the ZBA budget had a schedule of their fees. And Don asked the question, you know, how are our fees looking compared to surrounding communities? When was the last time we reviewed our fees? So we talked about that briefly. It's never a popular subject at town meeting or amongst, I think, the public in general, but it's probably worth taking a look at just, and I mean a cursory look. We don't need to like hire a consultant and spend a bunch of money to do this, but maybe just look at 5 or 10 neighboring communities and see how our filing fees and other fees compare, and making sure we're sort of not way out of whack with what everybody else is charging.
And we are doing that.
Great. I was just gonna say, somebody took that as an action.
Great.
All right. Thank you for the subcommittee. And Kevin, well, was there a summary as well? You know, you send that summary out for us. I didn't, I looked, maybe I missed it. It was in Govinda, the summary of the budget date.
Summary, yeah.
Okay, I missed it. Thank you. Go right ahead.
So the second group of budgets, we'll do 10 budgets tonight. These 10 budgets are up $31,652, or 1.86%. When you combine that with the 11 that we heard at our last meeting, the total increase is 0.89%. So we'll start off with the treasurer's budget tonight. We're recommending that this budget be increased $10,679. The increase in personal services is $8,679, which includes a 3% increase for the town treasurer and then contractual and negotiated increases for the clerical union members. One small increase on the expense side, there's a $2,000 increase in printing and binding, which is used for advertising. By law, we need to advertise tailings. We've been doing it once a year, but we need to do it twice a year. So we had to increase that line item $2,000. Major expenses within this budget, we have a $13,000 line item for tax title, which is used for attorney's fees and land court costs. We do collect money from tax title. Year to date, we've collected over $100,000. Last year, we collected $185,000. The total budget request for fiscal '26 is $255,406.
Questions or comments? Your treasurer made made the announcement he's leaving, I think, right?
I think someone pulled papers that would give you the indication that that is the case, but
That's what I saw on
he
the,
hasn't made the announcement.
that's
that-
what I saw in the paper. Okay.
I thought the paper said he also had pulled papers.
No, it just said that he is the. treasurer.
Eligible.
Okay. Yeah.
So is it a relative that pulled paper?
It is his nephew.
This is an hereditary position?
Apparently it is.
Maybe it is. I don't know if they're related to Paul Lazarov. I think there was some connection anyway.
The McCarthy lineage goes way back in Wakefield.
Other qualifications, the charter to be treasurer.
Would this be the third generation or the fourth?
That's a valid
This
question.
would be- Yeah, the second. For that position.
Not the third? Yeah.
No, for that position.
Okay, leave it at that.
Third for other positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Other qualifications in the charter for the position, you know,
It's an elected position.
it is, it's unusual now to elect treasurer.
I,
So I
I agree.
think that's an appointed.
I agree.
official position.
I think some of us tried to change that years ago and it didn't happen, so. Along with the other positions, but, I think the young man is qualified. He's a finance guy, so. he's
Oh, he is?
Pretty good, yeah.
Okay, no questions, Kev? Next, please.
Next budget is the fire alarm budget. We're recommending that this budget be increased $5,489 over the current fiscal year. This department is responsible for the townwide fire alarm system, town's traffic signals, and also the town's dispatch equipment at both fire stations. We increased personal services $4,989 based on year-to-date figures and a small increase. We also increased materials and supplies, $500 due to increased costs. This department also maintains master fire alarm boxes, which are at private businesses. We do charge an annual fee of $225 per box. There's approximately 170 boxes in town, so we do collect approximately $35,000 annually. The total budget request for fiscal '26 is $78,000.
Questions? Dan's up? Yep, Dan?
Yeah, Kevin, the personal services on over 11% increase. Do we do some kind of a survey or something that pointed that we're not paying nearly enough for the fire alarm maintenance guy?
So what I did there was I took the year-to-date expended and added a 3% increase to that. So year-to-date, we're almost at $25,000. So if you annualize that, we're at the $50,000, which I'm recommending for next year.
It's more about more hours, Dan.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
Yeah.
it sounds like an hours thing.
Yeah, it is definitely hours, yeah. There's more systems in town, yeah.
And who does that work? Isn't that people?
Fire department.
Department guys,
Fire
right?
department, yeah, well, fire
Ladies,
department.
guys,
Yeah. So there's no benefits,
been
no
there.
nothing, and it works out really well.
yes.
Yeah.
Good, Dan? Yep. Anybody else? Next.
Our next budget is the emergency management budget. We're requesting an increase of $1,777 over the current fiscal year. This increase is all in personal services and is a 3% increase for the emergency management director. A couple of the main expenses within this budget. The contractual services, there's a $10,000 line item for the Emergency Operations Center, which is at the Public Safety Building. This is used to service, upgrade, and maintain the control center over there. There's also a $16,000 line item for the emergency notification system, which is the reverse 911 system, which is used in case of emergencies. Total budget request for fiscal '26, $94,030.
Questions? Obviously, I think we've asked this a number of years, the lack of spending on the date on the emergency ops center.
It's just the timing.
This department is also, or this Department of One
Yeah.
is great about getting grants left and right, so it really is a great benefit to us.
If they are able to think under a grant instead of paying for it out of their budget, there would be a savings.
It rolls back.
Good. Next budget, please.
Next budget is the Inspectional Services Department budget. We are recommending an increase to this budget of $18,385. This increase is all in personal services and is for contractual and negotiated increases. We want to point out that this department does bring in quite a bit of revenue to the town. Fiscal '23, we brought in over 1.3 million. Last fiscal year, over 2 million. And so far, year to date, or through half the year, almost $500,000. The total budget request for fiscal '26 is $506,867.
Questions?
So Kevin, when we looked at the ZBA budget, we had the schedule of fees attached to that, but we don't have it attached
No,
here. So,
I can include that.
We're looking at those fees too.
Is there a graduated fee for building permits? In other words, a certain amount? I know what we have as a two-tier system in Somerville, but sort of hitting the bigger developments.
It's on, based upon the valuation.
Yeah.
Of the project. So I don't believe it's two-tier. I think
Yeah.
it's per, the valuation.
Just assuming that the inspections involved in the larger development take more time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How, I don't remember, but how long has the new building inspector been in and how's that working out?
He's working out great.
Been a
He's
year?
been in here a few years. He was hired during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's worked out really well. Projects, big projects, they've all been managed very well. I'm very happy. Tough position to fill.
Absolutely.
I'm very happy that he keeps asking for an assistant and I tell him no. Said the chairman of the FinCom hates FTEs, so don't even try.
You can stop by. We'll be glad to talk.
If we can recover more money,
Yeah.
with more staff, but I think the way to look at it is, but if we don't recover cost,
Yeah.
it's not a tax levy, meaning we all pay for it, So.
I think they're covering everything quite well now.
Yeah, okay.
Was this a position we were sharing in the past?
Years ago, we did share this with Linfield and we were just too busy with all the projects going on. So,
Yeah, John was John, right?
Jack.
Yeah. Very good.
and that includes building inspector, the electrical inspector, the
Yeah.
plumbing inspector.
Building, electrical, plumbing, and support staff.
Any questions? Anybody else? Next, thank you.
Next budget is the Recreation Department's budget. We're requesting this budget be increased $5,322 over the current fiscal year. This increase is all in personal services and is for a contractual and negotiated increase. The only salary in this department is the Recreation Director. This budget is covered by fees generated by the programs and activities. What happens is the fees are collected, goes into a revolving account. At the end of the fiscal year, we transfer out of that revolving account back to the general fund, the cost of this person's salary. The expense portion of the budget is funded out of the revolving fund. In fiscal '24, we collected and expended approximately $640,000 out of that revolving fund. Current balance in the account is just over $100,000. The total budget request for '26 is $136,136. Do want to also point out that the Recreation Director also is involved. It takes care of the two buildings, Civic Center and the Cultural Exchange on Albion Street.
Takes care of it in what way?
He manages that.
Schedules and things, yeah. Questions? My only question is the title of director, he's still, or she's still in a union negotiated?
In the supervisors union. Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Next budget is the streetlight budget. We're recommending a decrease to this budget of $10,000. 7 years ago, the municipal light department obtained a state grant to replace the town streetlights with LED streetlights. And at that time, 7 years ago, there was a savings of $25,000. We went from just over 213,000 down to the 188,000. The municipal light department took on some capital costs during that switchover. Those costs are going to be paid off in fiscal '27, which will generate more savings to this budget, somewhere in the vicinity of $20,000. There are approximately 2,300 streetlights in the town. 18 are in the residential neighborhoods. Total budget request for fiscal '26 is $178,131.
Questions? Most of that cost is electrical usage versus light rentals, those sorts of things, correct? So it's streetlights that are in the town, you're paying the electrical usage, correct? Else? Next.
Next budget is the Historical Commission's budget.
Oh, God.
We are
Excuse me?
requesting level funding. Total budget request for fiscal '26 is $2,000.
Questions? You good with that, Joe?
No, but go ahead.
Is that enough to evaluate windows in the building? Or
Don't even start. Don't even start.
It's a no. Next budget, please.
Next budget is the unemployment budget. They're requesting level funding for next year. This budget is split into two line items, $25,000 for the town, $50,000 for the school. Total budget request is $75,000.
Questions? Yes, Ed.
I may have asked this question before. This is on the town side, the school unemployment. Do we journalize that back to the school budget, or we're picking it up here on the?
We pick it up in this budget here, up to the 50,000. If they go over 50,000 and the budget is fully expended, the school will pick up the cost.
I can see actual expenditure fiscal 2024 for the schools is 62,643. Yeah, the town.
So, and actually, it was probably higher than that they picked up anything over the 75,000 for that year.
Any reason why it's not on their head, all of it?
Excuse me?
Is there any reason why it's not all, they're paying all of it?
I would say,
I just,
my belief has been in the occasions when they do not expend the entire $50,000 on unemployment, their portion. I would rather that come back to the town rather than be moved over in their line items at the school department. Just saying.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Well, my view is you journalize it over to their budget. You do that, Kevin.
Let me get it back.
Expenditures to date, pretty low. Well, the schools are at 30.
29,000.
Next budget.
Next budget is the reserve fund budget. We are requesting level funding for next year. This budget is used for unforeseen, under-budgeted, or unbudgeted expenses and emergencies. Total budget request is $400,000. We do have a couple items that we're looking at so far this year that we're trying to manage. As in years past, we will come back at the end of the year and give you an update of where we are. Right now, there's a couple line items in the town clerk's office based on the presidential election that went over a little bit. Also, fire alarm, some of their expenses are a little high.
Current fiscal year.
Current fiscal year. Vocational schools, I think we have one additional student at Essex North. That's about it.
The current budget, excuse me, but
Is the fire department overtime?
Fire department,
Our usual, oh my God,
that will
that
probably be done through a supplemental article at town.
we're not gonna do it through reserve fund, because we used to.
Last few years, we've done a supplement, but
That bad.
think we had 7 or 8 people out this year. At one time, and including the chief who had, and
I know.
everyone had to move up, and it was just,
Yeah.
The, what's the current balance?
It's still the 400,000. We haven't
400.
taken anything out. We usually try to, we do have some overruns in these budgets I just mentioned, but we're trying to bring them,
Work it back.
work it back down. So whatever we do go to the reserve fund for, it won't be as much as hopefully.
We usually do it in June anyway, right?
So Kevin, the election funds you said?
Yeah.
So does Betsy apply for reimbursement?
She does get reimbursement, but the reimbursement would go into the general fund. And what we would do, it's basically a wash that if the town clerk and the election budget is over, say, $15,000, we do a reserve fund for the 15, but Betsy has done a reimbursement to the state for the extra polling hours that she was open for, and we'd get that money back in. So it's basically a wash, but we still need to cover it through a reserve fund transfer.
Very good, next.
Last budget is the professional medical budget, requesting level funding for next year. This budget is used mainly for new hire physicals, but can also be used for mandatory Department of Transportation physicals for employees with CDL licenses, return to work physicals. Also, some of the, when we hire police and fire, their physicals are much more expensive, so if we hire 1 or 2 people, they can run up to $1,500 each. Total budget request for fiscal '26 is $15,300, with $11,500 coming from the tax levy, $1,900 from the water enterprise, and $1,900 from the sewer enterprise.
Questions?
Who conducts physical, do you have a contract?
Yes, we do. I don't have that with me now, but we do have one specific entity. Concentra?
Concentra, I think.
Anyone else? Okay, very good. Efficiently done. Next item on the agenda is a report update on the progress of the high school. I know,
Hey, it worked.
I know.
slash.
Very good.
Steve, I think.
So, I thought, might make sense to show you inside the tarps.
Everybody see that online?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, looks good.
All right, so this is the first, this is building A. The building, the project is in A, B, C, D, and E, and F. A is the closest section of the academic wing to Hemlock Road. And that's, this is the first floor of building A. This was Monday. And since then, it's been compacted, it's been insulated, and the concrete is going to be poured next week on the first floor of building A. Let me go up one. And this is what it'll look like when it's poured. This is the second floor of building A. And the third. So essentially, regarding building A, the roof will be started on Monday. The second and third floor have all been poured. Once the floor is poured, then they will immediately start doing the fire protection. After the fire protection, they will start the exterior framing of building A in 4 weeks. So we go to building B. This is the first floor of building B. This also is being compacted and ready to be, there's some areas that are still some piping that has to be dealt with. But for the most part, this is going to be also compacted and insulated, and the slab concrete pour is going to occur the week of February 10th.
Excuse me, Joe, the concrete is, who's supplying the concrete?
Oh,
Is it anybody local?
no. Yeah, yeah.
Pump trucks, anybody local? Any idea? If you don't know, I don't, it's fine.
We get a daily report.
Yeah.
As to the, it's this millwork come in, it's a whole bunch of different companies that are bringing them in.
Yep.
Every single day. They come in at like 6 o'clock in the
Oh,
morning.
yeah, no, it's gonna be quite an operation.
Yeah, they're all come in at 6, the trucks come in at 6 in the morning every day prior to school, and then some come in after 3 after school. So, building B, on the second floor, the concrete has been poured. And their fireproofing is going to be occurring. The roof in building B is going to be started on February 18th. The third floor is the same. The next, and building B is the A is next to Hemlock Road, it's the next section is B, the next section is C. And C is the main entrance. This is looking at, if you were walking into the main entrance of the school, into what's called essentially the dining area, the commons. That is the learning stairs that you're looking at on the right, that goes up, and behind you and above you is the media center above the entrance to the school. That concrete slab is going to be poured on February 18th. The roof is going to be started approximately March 10th. And after the slab poured, they're going to be fireproofing that area as well. The next one. This is the second floor. See, this is the media center. If you looked, if you would look to the left there of that picture, that's going to be the glass windows that are on top of the main entrance area. It's really striking. If you remember seeing the pictures of it, it's really striking, the huge glass open windows coming. And that's to the left on that picture. This is going to be the media center. Building D is the gym. A little hard to dribble right now, but you know. So this is going to be, it's essentially, they really just started wrapping this building and heating it. And they're going to be starting doing this, getting ready for the concrete slabbing and working on the interior. So this, I think, is the first floor. I don't, next one, Stephen. All right, now this is the auditorium in the back. As you can see, it wasn't even tarped yet. And you're literally looking at the stage. If you look straight ahead, that's where the stage to the auditorium is going to be. But they just tarped it this week, and they're starting to heat it and do the work that is necessary. Building F, which is a one-story building, is going to be where the superintendent and WCAT is. And that steel just got completed on that. As you may know, the topping off was done on the 20th of December. The Permanent Building Committee receives daily reports from the owner's project manager, along with photographs and details on the various activities for that day and what was going on. We've had monthly physical tours of the site, which we do the first week of the month, and meetings after that. As far as the interesting part of financial, we are on budget and on time.
Maybe a little bit under on both. Maybe.
I will make no positive references whatsoever. Jerry wouldn't let me. But he's the supervisor.
He didn't care about the budget, Jerry, just on the time.
So,
Have there been any change orders, Joe? And
seven change orders so far. The town has contingencies of well over a lot I'll give the exact number, but it's a lot, and we have not used a penny.
Good.
And essentially the only of the change orders that have been applied so far have been taken up with the construction change orders, which are bonds contingencies. And that includes the unfortunate thing with the gym. It includes, there was the upper parking lot that is finished now. There was an enormous ledge that was unforeseen that took about a month to take care of. That change order was taken care of by bond. We also have been, as you know, we had to, the Burnett Field had to be taken off for the culvert to be replaced. We have replaced the Burnett Field with new dugouts. We got brand new sod for the outfield. We have put in a brand new, better sprinkling system for them. And so far, it appears if our financials hold, we will be providing lighting for the softball field as well as some.
That's behind the Woodville, right? Is that?
Pardon?
Is that the Woodville? The
Yeah.
softball field
Yeah.
we're talking about?
Yeah, and there has been a request for the possibility of replacing the turf field at Lambert. So that is,
Landrigan?
yes. And that is on our radar if the fiscal works. But as I say, we're on time, and so far, I have to commend the team so far, the architects, SMMA, we've got 7 change orders have been very limited so far. Our owners, project managers, left field have done a great job. As I say, they give us reports every single day. And I can't tell you enough how really pleased we are with Bond, the construction people. They're tremendous. If you have any questions.
Comments, questions? Anybody?
So Joe, the auditorium and the WCAT, is that included in the school or excluded from the school building commission reimbursement?
WCAT is.
WCAT is?
We are only, WCAT, we are only providing a shell. WCAT has to provide the interior, all their added,
The studios and all of it.
I think we're putting up the lighting grid, and that's probably about it. But for a lot of the interior, they have to do on their own because they're a nonprofit corporation and a town and essentially provide nonprofit corporations financial assistance like that. So they're doing exactly what they did when they first moved into the high school. But the auditorium is reimbursed.
Is reimbursed. It wasn't at the Calvin, right?
Yeah, no, it was not.
Was a,
That's what I remember.
No, it was not.
which was crazy.
Not needed for a school.
Not needed for a school, even though we already had one in there.
Any questions?
How's the money flowing with MSBA?
We've had no problems with MSBA at this point. I know that we've actually had a few calls about what's going on in Washington DC. Is that going to affect your SBA money? But no, to date, no. We have to decide. Oh, Dan had his hands up. Dan, why don't you go? Dan Sherman?
Yeah, his hand was up, I saw it.
No?
There we go. I got
There we
it.
go.
There we go. So a quick question, this is more a Steve question than Joe, is on the financing and the bonds. Interest rates have come down a little bit. How do we line up now between on the financing in terms of interest rate and the charges on those bonds that we've issued to cover the costs? Are we ahead or behind on that aspect of the budget?
We are following the construction schedule at this point. We will have to go out and borrow 100 million. I don't know, kind of hoping that we get another rate cut, but that didn't happen.
That was solidified yesterday.
Yeah, that would have solidified, made our decision easier. I could anticipate us going out, which would entail another surveillance call with S&P for the 100 million, for the final 100 million. I don't, we'll talk about the contingency, maybe if we wrap that in or not on that. Anywhere, I don't know, June, maybe you think, June, late June? But we borrowed according to the construction schedule, so we're good.
Well, I was just focused on the interest rates.
Yeah.
And I know that our bond counsel folks had given us a set of numbers based
Oh,
on
we
an
are
assumption.
below those numbers.
Okay,
but-
that
yeah.
was my question. We're
Okay.
below, we're below the interest rates.
I'm sorry, I
Okay.
didn't understand. Yeah, I think we presented it to the community in between, I think 4.25 at a low end and 5.5 at a high end or something like that. We've been borrowing in the mid threes, 3.6 or so. So
Oh,
yes,
excellent.
they're
Okay.
much lower than that. So that's going to be, I'll say less of a shock when it does really hit the tax bill.
Well, that's where it is now.
Yeah.
AAA is
Yeah.
about 0.6.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good news. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the 100 million, that's going to be in a long-term bond? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah.
Short-term.
Yeah, we bonded out everything this time. Stefan has his hand up. Chairman.
Stefan?
Hey there, just to continue that same thought, for any bonds that we have previously taken out, are we, given like the ever-changing dynamic interest rate environment, are we able to retire some of those previous bonds if we're able to borrow funds at a lower interest rate today or in the near future?
We did look at it.
Yeah, actually, we did look at it and we did do, was it some of the Galvin Middle School
Yeah, and I think we ended up saving about a little over $1 million on
on our last
some of the
borrow.
Galvin.
Okay, great.
The early Galvin bonds were fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll never touch those again, and I wish that we could have borrowed for this project too at the same time. But the later borrowings on the Galvin, we did refund them in this last round, and I think it saved about $1 million, $1.1 million, which was nice in interest.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought Doug Butler assured you the bonds would be lower the next time around, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know, well, sometimes, you know.
Anybody else? Bill?
I don't know if it's appropriate. Are we able to get a similar update on the Vogue School?
I can ask them for one, Bill. I
Yeah,
can't
that'd be-
give you one, but
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Thank you.
They must be further, they're much further along, right?
yeah, they started earlier. They still have that other roadway issue that I don't think has been, but we can get them in to get an update.
I was curious about the road. I know there's no activity.
Yeah.
There's still
I thought it had all,
roadblocks or not?
I thought DEP had signed off on it.
Yeah, me too.
It was, but it went to Superior Court, so.
Oh, delightful. Anyone else? All right, thank you. All, appreciate it. All right, we have just two meeting minutes, two sets of meeting minutes. First one was, in the packet was the subcommittee meeting for 1/8/25 for the town hall subcommittee meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
On a motion, second by Evan. Comments on the minutes? Anyone? Subcommittee, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Unanimous. The other set of minutes is the meeting minutes from January 16, 2025.
Move to accept?
Bill,
Second. Dan,
Dan?
So just one correction
Sure.
on item 4. It was Don, not Dan,
Oh,
provided
There you
You
go.
guys got to get a better scribe.
Move to
Thank you.
accept as amended. Move to accept as amended.
Second,
And seconded it, Bill. All those in favor of the minutes as edited? Thank you. Okay. I don't know if it's appropriate, Steve, to just speak a little bit on the, either the cherry sheet preliminary or the cherry sheet final.
Whatever you'd like. It is.
So the cherry sheet came out. I don't know if everybody got it. I apologize for not forwarding it. Steve had sent an email and I might not have forwarded it. But it had the link for the, I guess you could call it state funding. I'm not sure I'd call it state funding lately, but if Steve or somebody just wants to speak briefly about it, net increase was 1 point something.
Yeah, when you net out last year's total state aid versus this year's total state aid, it's about 1.66%. People at the MMA conference were not happy in general, as I wasn't happy with this. This is the first round in this, so we'll see what happens. Interestingly enough, unrestricted government aid, or UGA as we like to call it, that went up by 2.2% across the board for everybody. I get it. It's supposed to be linked to the state revenue. It is what it is there. Chapter 70 continues to baffle me. As I said, the minimum per student increase was $75. I think that's what we got, was a minimum per student, $75. That was in the governor's budget. I don't know what's going to happen when it goes to the House and the Senate. I would hope that would increase. There was a lot of talk about that the Student Opportunities Act isn't really, the formula isn't working as they should have. My sense of it is that I think there's a lot money at the state level that's coming in the fair share amendment that is going towards transportation and higher education and not coming back to the cities and towns. I think that was pretty evident from what they were talking about there. There was some pablum, I think, about circuit breaker amounts going up. I talked to superintendent and he hasn't seen any indication that that's the case. They did talk about increasing Chapter 90, but I thought they really skirted that. They never really told us what was going to happen there. So that would be nice if they increase Chapter 90 by 50%, like they've said a few years. That might be another $350,000 for us for road work, because I think we get $650 right now in Chapter 90. So, but there were a lot of unhappy, disgruntled people, and I had never seen that many of them at the state at the MMA convention. So stay tuned. The town council did invite the reps in. I'll see what our responses are, if we got any, to discuss this issue, because we're not alone. Now, Kevin looks at some other communities this time, because I get too angry. Why don't you share what you shared with me about one of our neighbors? You don't have to name who it is, but.
One of our surrounding communities. The past couple of years, their Chapter 70 has gone up. I think it was 3 million last year, 2 million this year, or 2 million for next year. And it's baffles me that,
Yeah, similar demographics, similar things like that.
The demographics are a little different.
a
But
little bit different.
not
but
that.
It shouldn't be that drastic.
So I might have to play looking at each community, see what they get per student, and I'll have to say, I don't understand why if we were X, we'd get more. If we were them, we'd get more. Why are we getting this? And
Well, it's still the
laugh
first.
at- It's still the first round. It's got to go through the, the House and the Senate, and they'll have their hearings on it. I'm just not feeling very warm and fuzzy this year.
Yeah. And you and I talked briefly, I think there's a lot. There's money available to request or through a grant process.
Yeah, there are. I mean, the state is saying that there are more grants available. You have to be an MBTA compliant community, which we are at the next step. We don't have AG approval yet, which we didn't expect. We don't have final EOHLC approval yet, although they said everything's in and it looks good. But that comes with the, there is some, prescription with that. You have to do it for a certain
Use it for a
certain purpose. Where I really would like it to come into and let us decide what we're gonna do with it. Yeah, so. What can you do?
So the legislature did intervene last year on chapter 7.
Yes,
It's what, $110 minimum?
I think it was 110.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's certainly an opportunity for the legislature to intervene again.
That would be nice. We get a little bit more of that, but.
How's the charter school tuition? I didn't look at that. Did that go up?
In this
We
first
don't
budget,
have a lot of control over it.
charter school sending tuition was pretty flat with last year. And our receipts on that was reimbursement reimbursement went down $130,000 and our costs went up $20,000. So it was $150,000 negative of charter school.
Mhm.
In that case, I don't want to be Melrose. They get canceled.
Right?
No, doing great.
Have the rules that the regs been updated on the MBTA communities thing for the court?
They did send it out. It looked to me like it was the same that they had put through before. They were just doing it correctly, filing correctly. I was thinking that maybe, Dan, we could have a forecast meeting with some of these new numbers.
So, yeah, so I have actually have it up, I have it up right now. And it's not pretty.
Yeah.
I'm showing a deficit for 26 right now of 1.2 million. But obviously, we've barely scratched the surface on budgets.
I think we should have a meeting with the subcommittee, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably due.
Maybe we'll schedule it. We'll go around and schedule it.
Great.
Maybe next week. Is that good?
Yeah, next week should be okay. I can give you some good dates. You looking at evening? I
Whatever you
assume?
want. Yep, whatever you
All
want.
right. I'll throw some dates out to the group.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both. I don't have it with me, but I did send out the school spending through the 6 months, I believe, right? You guys got that, the rest of the folks got that, so I'll continue to send that out as they become available. I didn't highlight too many things in it when I reviewed it quickly, but so we are still trying to schedule a meeting with them, the school, that is sort of a workshop environment to talk about budgeting, the budgeting process, if you would, a little different than we have in the past. And I know Brian's working with the superintendent and the finance subcommittee, Tom, to firm up an agenda and a meeting schedule. So everybody will be invited to that, and obviously it'll be a public meeting as well. And to dig a little deeper on certain subjects. When that happens, we'll all be aware. Those are the only items I think I had to cover. Next meeting's 2/13. Any any committee comments, committee member comments, others?
Can I just ask Steve, so I sent out the minutes from the subcommittee, the police department. Is the police department the only budget requesting any new FTEs?
So far.
Yeah, okay, not a trick question. I was just wondering if, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for getting those out. Bill, I hadn't looked at it yet, but I saw it. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I just want to give people a heads up in particular because I don't think there are any other budgets with FTE requests, so I think it's just something to be aware of.
Yep. Okay. Anyone else? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.